Alright, so we are doing our fraction, decimal, and percent conversions review photable. So we want to start by putting in your table of contents, fraction, decimal, percent conversion, and the date 11/18/19, so we can always find it. And then you're going to just flip to page 3. So this is page 1, this is page 2, and now we're on page 3. So we're getting a lot of photables in here, which is great. These are awesome resources for you. Go ahead and put your page number in the top, 3, and then fraction, decimal, percent. I couldn't fit conversions, so if you want to write smaller than me, that's great. But you also have room. It's right here on your paper, so you don't have to worry too much. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And so the first thing we want to remember is this triangle that we have. This triangle that kind of shows us how to go from words to fractions to decimals and percents. So again, we're going to have 3/8. Remember, if we want to turn 3/8 to a percent or decimal, we can easily try to turn 8 into 100, but there is no number that is multiplied by 8 to get to 100, so the only other option to get to a decimal is to long divide. So we're going to long divide 3 divided by 8, and that's going to help us get this fraction to a decimal. So we're just heading this way right now. We're heading that way. So we have 3 divided by 8, and 8 goes into 3 0 times. So we had a 0 decimal point. 8 goes into 30 3 times. That's 24. We have 6 left. We add another 0. 8 goes into 60 7 times. That's 56. We have a 4 here. And then 8 goes into 40 5 times. And now we're done because we have a 0 there. So to write this 3/8 as a decimal, we had to long divide or turn into 100. We couldn't turn it into 100, so we long divide. And so our decimal is just 0.375. So if we want to go from a decimal to a percent, remember we're just moving that decimal point. So we're going to move decimal point 2 places to the right. So that's just going to look like this. Just going to move it twice. Okay? So to the right. So that gives us 37.5%. So this is a 7. And so we're almost done here. We have our fraction, we have our decimal, we have our percent. So now we want to make sure that we have our words. And so we always write the fraction as words. So we're just going to put 3/8. Remember, you have to have that piece, so don't forget that piece. All right. So that was just our first reminder and our first example. And again, if we wanted to go from a percent to a fraction, just as memory. Remember, all percents are over 100. So we could have did 37.5 over 100, and then from there we could have simplified. So you would have simplified. And that would have got us to 3/8. Okay, so there's that. And so now if we open it up, we just have some problems we'll practice together, right? Just practicing. So remember, fraction to a percent, we want to make sure, turn your fraction, so all percents are out of 100. So you want to remember that. All percents are out of 100. So can I turn 25 to 100? I can. I can do that by multiplying by 4. So therefore, I have 5 over 25 times it by 4, because I know 4 quarters equals $1. So I have 100 here and 20 here. But again, it says make it a percent. So we know we're just taking this 20 here, and it's becoming 20%. Can I turn 10 to 100? I sure can. I can multiply by 10. So here, I'm just going to move my paper like this. You have 70 over 100. We just take that and make it 70%. 3 over 6, so looking at 3 over 6, there's multiple ways we can do this. So 6 can't be turned to 100, so we could long divide. So So we could do 3 divided by 6. And we know that 6 can't go into 3, so we have a 0. Decimal point and a 0. But we know 6 goes into 30 5 times. So we got 5 times 6, which is 30. 0. So this is 0.5. This is not a percent, but to turn it to a percent, we're going to move that decimal point twice. So that gives us 50%. Another way you could have did this is simplify. 3 6. I know we can turn this into a 2 by dividing by 3. That's 1/2. And I know 2 times 50 is going to give me 100. And then that 2 is still 50%. So either way works. If you know you can turn you can simplify to get it to where it can be 100, do that. If not, just long divide. And that's what we did here. Okay? Let's keep going. So now we're going to change the percent to a fraction and reduce the lowest terms. So again, all percents are out of 100. So here we have 28 over 100. If you don't know what number goes into both 28 and 100, you could easily just look at the last two numbers and see, oh, these are both even numbers, so you could start with 2. But we know the biggest number is 4. So 28 divided by 4 is 7. 100 divided by 4, 25. You have to simplify. If you don't simplify, you lose points. This lowest terms means simplify. Okay? 125%. Again, it still goes over 100. And we know we want to simplify that. So we know a number that goes into both of these is 25. Okay? So we know that 125 divided by 25 is 5. And 100 divided by 25 is 4. And so I will accept 5 over 4, but if you want to go a step further, we know it's 1 and 1/4. 25%, put it over 100. We again know 25 goes into both. If you didn't know that, you could try 5. 5 would have worked, but you would have had to simplify more than once. You know that's 1/4. Okay? So the key here is place it over 100 and then simplify. Let's move a decimal to a percent. So remember, for decimal to percent, we're going to move the decimal 2 places to the right. So we're moving to the right. Okay? So it's 2 places to the right. We are going decimal to percent. So let's move it twice. 1, 2. We have to add a 0. So that's 20%. Don't forget your percent sign. Twice. 1, 2. So this is 530%. So don't get confused. You're like, oh, it still must be 53. Nope. If you move it twice and it's 3 numbers, write those 3 numbers. And here, we're moving it twice, and we're going to get 35.2%. So again, always move it twice. Lastly, we're going to write the percent as a decimal. So we're going to move the decimal 2 places to the left. So we're going the opposite way now. So we're going 2 places, but this time to the left. So again, our decimal points are hiding behind these, well, not here, but here, right behind the number, except for here because we see our decimal point. So we're just going to take it and move it twice to the left. 1, 2. So again, remember we went to the right. Now we're going to the left, and we're going to add a 0. So this is going to be 0.07. No percent sign because it's a decimal. Here, move it twice. 1, 2. So this is 0.625. Don't leave off that 5. And then lastly, move it 2, 1, 2. So this is just going to be 0.03. So again, you have to add zeros. Make sure you keep them in relation to your decimal point. So make sure that's it. Make sure you glue this in so it is inside of your foldable. And now you have your notes, your review for this week's post assessment. All right.